While Kickstarter isn't perhaps as vibrant with the heavy hitter $5 to $6 million video game campaigns as it once was, it remains a popular route in which indie developers take to secure funding for their projects. Welcome to Get Indie Gaming and to the relaunch of our Kickstarter indie game coverage for 2020. First up, and for this video in no particular order, we begin with Project Grove. This one popped up on our radar following last year's October EGX show in London, where we had time to play the demo and chat with a couple of the team behind it. Project Grove is a first-person single-player 3D puzzle platformer in which you play as Edric, a legendary alchemist together with his robot companion on their quest to find a cure to a disease that's called the Great Rot. Aside from having what seems a fine amount of dry British humour, its look and feel suggests a nod towards a certain amount of steampunk influence, which we found really rather pleasing. The same is true of the open-world, non-linear puzzle sections, where you're offered the freedom to explore and not have to complete sections within a rail-like level-by-level system. We're most excited and interested to see what Project Grove does with the potion building and the crafting sections. We understand players will need to experiment and master these elements, with them often being paired with any given puzzle. For example, needing to encase yourself in a bubble to survive a fall, or light a dark path with an array of vibrant colours. Seeking just over 29,000 British pounds, or 38,000 US dollars, as the video airs, the team have 27 or so days to go, and they are just about 20% of the way in hitting their targets. The campaign ends Sunday, March 1st. This fantastical story, rich hand-drawn painted world, all things being well, is all set to come out by way of home PC in the summer, later in the year.
Hello. Get over here.
Up next, and having already been successfully funded by the time this video comes out, Zelda brought in more than 60,000 US dollars against an initial target of 20k. As no doubt you've already guessed, Zelda is a survival game where you've survived a zombie end-of-days scenario. You've been rescued and find relative safety within a community of other survivors, only for their camp to be overrun by a huge horde of the undead. Zelda uses a number of traditional gaming mechanics, from crafting to gathering loot, to rescuing and recruiting more survivors, to building and protecting your shelter, and as could be expected, many different sorts of weapons and such ways with which to see off the zombies. The pixel art with its 24-hour day-night cycle and blood and guts, well, it won't be to everyone's taste, although for us, it gets a nice big thumbs up. Zelda should be coming out on home PCs at some point towards the middle of the year. At number 4, Ruby the Wayward Myra, as you can see, is a 2D action platformer with some very pretty pixel art in a world where magic and science all come together. At its core, it's a Metroidvania, although it features non-linear gameplay and will offer multiple playstyles and endings. As could be expected, as you progress, you level Ruby up, which boosts her survivability, while upping her attack skills with ranged attacks and hard-hitting melee slashes. The same is true with your, let's call them parkour skills, as you learn additional defense skills, double jumps and gravity-defying skips and leaps as you bounce and fling yourself around the terrain. All in, this one looks properly lovely, and at the time of writing it smashed its goal of 12,000 US dollars and is well on the way over the 30k mark. Ruby the Wayward Myra, like many of the games in this month's countdown, has an estimated delivery date of late in the year, with it coming to home PC via Steam, and also having hit a stretch goal, it'll be coming to the Nintendo Switch too. Up next, and at number 3, My Work Is Not Done Yet successfully finished its funding drive on the last day of January. It took in just over $12,000 versus a target of $7,500. Billed by the developers as a pilgrimage simulator, it's perhaps this kind of game amongst all others that feels so very well suited to these kind of crowdsourced campaigns, and is one of the most interesting projects we've seen on the platform in a long time. It follows the final days of an Inquisitor called Avery, the last surviving member of a team given the mission of uncovering the source of an unidentified signal. Although it's a survival game, there's no combat. You're all alone within a dense and humid jungle wilderness, and to survive, you'll need to use accurate and authentic field-based survival and land navigation techniques. It'll also feature real-time weather systems such as rain and high temperatures that will force you to adapt how you play, for example needing to take shelter or get out of the heat, or torrential rains. Other elements at play here include sleep deprivation, hygiene, sanitation, willpower, and such tasks as fire starting and homestead keeping. Furthermore, the developers intend the game to deliver features around the character's physical and overall mental health, with physical and mental afflictions, injuries, and illnesses. As for the story, well, it's totally unscripted, meaning the narrative forms while you play and is built upon the fly with the in-game ambient lore, and what you do and how you interact with the environment. The visuals, as you could argue, are on the basic side, although these 1-bit graphics are every bit as appealing to us as say those of the Obra Dinn from a year or so ago. The money raised from this Kickstarter will largely fund the remaining parts of this one's ongoing development, and should everything go to plan, My Work Is Not Done Yet will come out via Steam in around the tail end of the year. Up at number 2, and as no doubt others will have already made the connection, we have Spirit Tea, a mix and a cross of Stardew Valley and the much-loved 2003 movie Spirited Away. Here you play as a writer struggling to finish your book. In search of some peace and inspiration, you've moved to a small town in the country which, unbeknown to you, has been under the weather of late, having been hit by natural disasters, strange accidents amongst the townsfolk, and other weird and odd occurrences. After drinking from an ancient teapot, you are able to see into the spirit world, where you discover the town is home to some pretty darn grumpy ghosts, with it being up to you to reopen the town's bathhouse on the mountain where these spirits once rested, and convince them by way of your hospitality to generally calm themselves down. I love the concept here with the bathhouse management aspects, and like Stardew Valley, the opportunities afforded in the in-game to go out, explore the town, and get to know the locals. The developer intends to bring Spirit Tea firstly to early access in just under 2 years' time, which is a kind of long and winding road before launch, although I'm super happy to say the game was fully funded when its campaign ended January 31st, with it taking over 19,000 Canadian dollars against its target of 18k. And at number 1, the game on Kickstarter of recent times we're most excited to see more of, Aquamarine is looking to raise $12,500 and with its campaign finishing on February 26th, as this video airs, they're around $3,000 short of this goal. Inspired by animation and the underground art scene of the 1970s, particularly the French artist Moebius and the images within Heavy Metal magazine, who the team call out as being key influences to the game's hand-drawn artwork. Aquamarine is a survival adventure game where you play as an explorer called the Seeker. You've crashed on an alien planet that's largely covered in water, having been forced from your craft by way of a malicious signal responsible for bringing you down. The ongoing premise is simple sounding enough: to survive long enough on the planet to find and recover your crashed ship, although how you do this is totally up to you. Along the journey, in doing so you'll discover more about the planet you've found yourself on, and also the forces that brought you there. The gameplay features point-and-click adventure elements, together with turn-based exploration, intricate-looking survival and resource mechanics, and environmental puzzle solving. What's more, for every move, every action, and every moment you remain alive on the planet comes at a cost: fuel, food, health, etc, etc, and in order to survive, you'll need to adapt your actions and decisions, although you'll also need to be careful, as everything you do has consequences which are permanent. All in, Aquamarine is looking tremendous, and as we said at the start of the video, Without the existence of platforms such as KickStarter, it might never have gotten off the drawing board, and while this is the team's second bite of the KSA cherry, we wish them all the best with it and look forward to playing when it launches late this year. As always, we'd love to know which one of these games you're most looking forward to. Please let us know in the comments below. We're just under a month away from a full channel rebrand and relaunch and can't wait to show you more of our plans over the next few weeks. If you haven't already done so, now's a great time to subscribe and join our wonderful and ever-growing community of indie game fans. Clicking the notification bell also means you never miss out when we drop a new video. With that, many thanks for watching. We'll see you all again here soon for more indie game videos.